The people at a company called Snowpea have kindly given me this USB portable fan to unbox and test. So let's take a look at it and see what it's like. Bit of an illustration there of how it can be, the grill can be taken off. And nice little thank you card and some instructions there. Now it does give you some stats around the operating time and how heavy it is and so on. Let's take a further look inside. Okay, so the only other thing in the box is the charging cable, micro USB, and just move that box out of the way. And then we've got the fan itself. So let's have a quick look at the measurements. So the fan itself inside is about 5.5 inches across. That's 14 centimeters. And then the unit itself is 7.5 inches, which is 19 centimeters in diameter. Ooh, turned it on. Okay, so the first thing to note is that when you first get it, there's like a child lock on it, which I should have enabled. You press both buttons for 2 seconds and then that locks the controls. So when you first get it, it'll be like this and nothing will happen. So you have to press both buttons to unlock it. And now you can actually start using it. I can peel that label off now. And then we've got some LEDs there. The first one's your charging status, which is red when it's charging, and then it goes kind of a white colour when it's fully charged. And then as we go up through the power levels on the fan, that will increase the LEDs. So let's do that. Up to level 4 and then off. And then we've got the oscillation and a breathing light on the end there. We'll take a look at those in more detail in a second. Okay, so apparently this grill comes off. I've not been able to do that just yet, but I guess if you got quite dusty, that'd be the way to get in there, give that a bit of a clean. Going around the edges, not a lot else on there. Underneath, this is where the oscillation is, so that sort of moves back and forth. And then we've got this charging port underneath with a cable run, so that if you did have it as sort of like on a bedside table, then that runs under there quite nicely. It is a little tricky to get a USB charging cable in there. It's just a bit fiddly really. If you're using this all the time as a portable device and not having that cable run into it, it's just, yeah, it's not great for getting it in there. But I guess you're not going to be doing it too often. Now, it says on the bottom here, charging time is about 6 to 8 hours. I saw that probably a bit lower, took about 4 to 5 hours with a 1/2 amp charger, which I didn't think was too bad really. It's got a 4,000 milliamp hour battery inside there. Okay, so what you can do is adjust the tilt there, and it goes up 90 degrees, stops there. And then you can see underneath here, this ring is actually a light. So if we press and hold the oscillation button, that turns that on, and it kind of does this breathing effect. So it won't just stay on, which I thought would have been quite a nice feature as a child's night light, to have that just as a static light. But the kids might get used to it, just it pulsing on and off like that. You can kind of see through the fan there. If you had it like that, maybe hooked onto a wall, that might look quite nice with that going on and off. Then if you just tap it once whilst the fan is running, it'll do the oscillation. So let's turn that on. Fan level 1, and press the oscillation button. And there we go. So now you'll notice that the fan noise is relatively quiet. So I measured the background noise at about 22 decibels. With fan level 1, it went up to 32. And then fan level 2, let's do that. That's 35 decibels at 1 meter. Then it goes up to 47 decibels at level 3. And then 52 decibels at level 4. But one thing I don't like is how loud that beeping sound is. It's over 70 decibels in my tests. So it'd be nice if it was a bit quieter. The battery, I gave it a test at level 3. It lasted about 6.5 hours, which was pretty impressive. The information I have on it says that it will last 15 hours on level 1, 10 hours at level 2, 7 hours at level 3, which is pretty much what I saw, and then 3 hours at level 4, which is, yeah, it's pretty good going, really. Now that oscillation is on about 120 degrees, so we'll stick that back on again, and let's ramp that up like that. And the oscillation itself is really quite quiet. Yeah, you could have that on like a bedside cabinet, no worries. It's really quite quiet at that point. And I think the big bonus with this is the portability. Oh, and you press and hold to turn off the fan if you don't want to go through all the different levels. Yeah, like I say, the portability is the key, really. I've been able to take this to like my dining room where one of the gaming PCs is, and put this next to me in on quite a hot day. And it was really nice to just be able to plonk it there and know that it will go for hours, keeping me cool, and I didn't have to plug it in anywhere. So that I think is a nice bonus. And obviously if you're off camping or traveling, maybe in a caravan or whatever, then it's a really neat device to be able to take with you. It doesn't weigh too much, it's about 700 grams, so it's not too bad if you're going to shove that in a suitcase or whatever. Just remember to put the travel lock on it. So these buttons are quite easy to press. When I was putting it back in the box, I turned that on by accident. So press and hold both buttons for 2 seconds, and then that's locked it. Anyway, I'm quite impressed by this. It's about £28 on Amazon. I think that's a fair price for something quite solid like this. It's pretty quiet, especially on the lower modes. But if you do want that extra power, then it is obviously going to be a bit noisier. So all in all, I'm quite impressed by this, and if I was buying it myself, I'd be quite happy with it. Anyway, I hope this was useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.